Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois, and this will be my review and breakdown for Superman and Lois Season 1 Episode 14, aka the penultimate episode of the season, titled The Eradicator, and wow, guys, Superman and Lois continues to raise the bar. We had another insane episode of this show. I still cannot believe we didn't have one bad episode this season. This show has just been a blast. It's definitely by far the best DC TV show of the year. And I cannot wait to talk about everything in more detail with this breakdown. And yeah, we had a very interesting cliffhanger which will lead into the finale, which is next week. Obviously, I haven't done videos on Superman and Lois for a while now. I have missed episode 12 and episode 13, but that's just because I was very busy with The Flash. So yeah, now that The Flash is over, I am back to Superman and Lois for these final 2 weeks. And then I will either cover Stargirl Season 2 or Marvel's What If. I still haven't decided between the two. But for those who haven't seen this episode, spoiler alert, because this is a review and breakdown after all, so I'll be going over some major spoilers which you certainly wouldn't want to hear from me. So if you guys haven't seen the episode yet, go watch the episode and come back later for this breakdown. But for those who are staying, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so this episode kicks off right where we left off from last episode, with Morgan Edge absorbing energy from the sun as he becomes the Eradicator. Now this would obviously make him much more threatening as a villain, because now he has every Kryptonian consciousness within him and he's able to create more Kryptonians, but also ability wise he's become much more powerful, as we have seen during this episode. Like, Clark couldn't even touch him. But yeah, this scene was also very visually cool to see as well. We then cut to 3 weeks later and there's no sign of Morgan Edge. The Kent family are talking about some recent events, such as the Cushing family moving from Smallville, for example. And also we have Jordan wanting to pay a visit to Sarah, and Lois is talking about how Jordan and Sarah have been very close lately. And we also have the family being bothered by the fact that Jonathan Kent has been very close to John Henry Irons, and they don't feel comfortable with Jonathan working alongside John Henry Irons and learning how to make weapons like that. But we then have the Smallville Gazette releasing a new issue criticizing the DOD of their state in town, and that it's getting people worried and they're wondering when the town is safe from the threat, because if the DOD are there, clearly the threat is not gone. And they have a fight about the upcoming town hall meeting, and that Samuel Lynn can't reveal the truth to the people because it could put his family in danger, and can lead trails back to Clark, as well as Lois knowing everything, such as back in that time Morgan Edge having possession of the Eradicator, which allowed him to create Kryptonians through putting their consciousness into other people's bodies, things like that. You know, Samuel Lane wants to keep the family safe. He doesn't want to reveal any of that, so he decides to not reveal the truth. We also have Jonathan visiting John Henry Irons' workshop, and he notices the Firefly stamp on his suit, and he says, "Oh, this is awesome," in which obviously John Henry Irons is very bothered about this, because he says it is not awesome, because this is from a memory of his daughter who from his Earth, and they were basically building his very first suit together to stop the evil Superman from his Earth. We also have Clark visiting Lana Lang, and he's trying to talk Lana down from moving. He says, Smallville, it won't be the same without you, things like that. Clark just wants his best friend to stay. We obviously find out that Lana Lang's family have put their house up on for sale. We also have Chrissy Beppo telling Lois Lane that she is selling the Smallville Gazette to a large new corporation due to her debts being too much, and she has no other choice but to sell it, because they haven't been making enough money with the Smallville Gazette, even with Lois Lane working for them. But we also have Jordan and Sarah being treated differently, especially Jordan, now that the Cushings are obviously heavily disliked amongst the citizens of Smallville. So when they see Sarah hanging out with Jordan, then Jordan also gets disrespected for hanging out with a Cushing. We also have the couple of football boys joining them, and then they obviously invite Jordan and Jonathan to a town under siege party, but obviously they do not invite Sarah due to what's been going on, in which Jordan's like, if it's okay with you, I'm not going to go as well, I want to stay with you, but Sarah's like, no, go, you haven't hung out with them in a while, I'll just, hang back. We then head to the town hall meeting, and General Samuel Lane and Lois begin to answer the town's questions. That's obviously about why the DOD are around, and Samuel Lane is trying to say stuff without giving too many stuff away. He's just saying like, the danger's not fully stopped. Obviously they do not reveal that Morgan Edge has escaped through the hands of the DOD, because obviously that would cause some wide panic. But then we have the Eradicator arriving to the DOD, and he rescues Leslie Lar, and obviously it's very easy because it's a Kryptonian versus a couple of soldiers, so yeah, obviously Morgan is gonna get through. But yeah, he rescues Leslie Lar, and then we head back to the town meeting where we have Sharon Powell arriving to call out General Samuel Lane over the death of her son, and she's just like, oh, the DOD have been lying to you and things like that, in which they then reveal that Morgan Edge has escaped through the hands of the DOD. The meeting just breaks down when General Samuel Lane gets word of the attack from Morgan Edge, and he is forced to leave. We then have Tal Rho, aka the Eradicator now, shall I say, heading to Metropolis to attack the city, and obviously that is the city which means the most to Clark and Lois, because that's where they were for most of their lives. This is a very nice parallel to what happened in John Henry Irons' Earth, where obviously the Kryptonians head to Metropolis and just completely decimate the city in 7 minutes. But obviously instead of evil Superman, it's going to be Morgan Edge as the Eradicator with Leslie Lar by his side, and obviously with other Kryptonians, which we will obviously see later on. But yeah, this started to get more and more intense. I was wondering what's going to happen over here. We also have Jordan missing a call from General Samuel Lane, because obviously they do not know what's happening due to them being at the party. Now, I haven't touched up on this storyline a bit, but we had this storyline throughout the episode where Lana and Kyle were obviously thinking of selling the house and obviously leave Smallville due to them just being humiliated due to what Kyle has done. Yeah, throughout this arc, Lana started to become more and more convinced after Clark tried to talk her down that maybe they shouldn't leave. And the same applies to Kyle as well, when we had Kyle heading to his office and we had one of the firefighters trying to talk him down, and that how it was Kyle being the one who respected her for staying in the firefighting department. So yeah, now Kyle is convinced that they shouldn't leave as well. But just when they were convinced that they shouldn't leave, Kyle gets an offer in the town 2 hours away. And obviously Sarah calls him out for it because, she doesn't want to stay away from Jordan, but also she wants to stay in Smallville. She doesn't want to leave this town and go somewhere else. But we then head back to Metropolis, and the Eradicator is fully formed. We have Clark using his, zoom in vision, if you want to say, and he looks at Morgan Edge only to find out that he looks a bit different, and they're wondering what's going on. He's able to also turn people into Kryptonians, as we saw with his hands. Like, he was able to turn 5 other people into Kryptonians, which was really, really sick. And I was like, oh my god, we're actually getting this. And we actually get a full-on Kryptonian battle all across the city. The visual effects were all amazing and I absolutely loved it. With the Eradicator, as I said, there's also Leslie Lar and 4 others who attack the city, and John Henry Irons is obviously with Clark. As I said before, I really like this parallel between how these Kryptonians just completely decimated John Henry Irons' Earth, but then we have Superman being on the good side on this world, with John Henry Irons trying to face off these Kryptonians who are trying to destroy Metropolis. But Superman heads off to deal with the Kryptonians in the business district, and he's able to take one out and takes on another, and that just keeps on going. And while that is happening, we have Steel fighting off Leslie Lar, which was a really cool fight. We had them facing off another Kryptonian as well. We had at one point John Henry Irons being separated from his hammer, in which that was slowing his attacking abilities, and we had Leslie Lar getting the upper hand from him sometimes. But at the party, Jonathan talks with Tegan, who tries to be sincere about her liking Jonathan. We also had Sarah heading to the party to find Jordan because they need to talk about something, and that is obviously the fact that they found out that Sarah is going to be moving from Smallville. And Jordan's obviously bothered by this. Obviously, he's going to try and get it to work. They were thinking of long distance relationships and things like that. But the party's interrupted with the news of the battle in Metropolis, where we have Superman and an armored person fighting off different Kryptonians, and we then have Lois heading to the roof, and over there I'm like, okay, something's going to happen, but she begins to tell the story of what's happening over here, just like on John Henry Irons' Earth, but obviously it's during the day, and this is on Earth Prime, not John Henry Irons' Earth. And we, instead of Superman floating behind Lois, it's Leslie Lar this time. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening over here? Obviously we knew that Lois wasn't going to die, but it was just really sick seeing that. And then we obviously had Leslie Lar's eyes igniting, and she's about to blast the heat vision. I'm like, okay, who's going to save her over here? But this was really intense. I really enjoyed it, and I got chills during the scene. But yeah, Jordan and Jonathan are obviously watching it on TV, which is very troubling for them, and you know, they're about to break into tears as they're about to see their mother die in front of them. And obviously Jonathan has watched the clip from John Henry Irons' Earth where Superman murders Lois Lane, so yeah, I really like the scene a lot. But even though John Henry Irons was not able to save his version of Lois Lane, he is able to save this version of Lois before Leslie Lar was about to kill her. He throws the hammer as quickly as he could, and it hits Leslie Lar, saving Lois Lane. So yeah, I got chills during the scene. As I said, I really liked it. Also, there was a scene, and that was the confrontation, or this mini fight between the Eradicator and Superman, just to show how insanely powerful Morgan Edge has become as the Eradicator. And that's when, you know, Clark tries to, you know, go at him, but then Morgan Edge just blasts them away like it's nothing. It was really cool. Obviously, as I said before, he's become much more threatening, and I cannot wait to see how their final battle goes down during the finale, because it's going to be a great one. We already know it. But while Superman and Lois work to figure out where the Eradicator is going, it becomes clear that he will be making more subjects, and that is obviously through Leslie Lar. Leslie Lar is like, haven't you figured out already? He's always one step ahead of you. And Clark finds out that he's going to be making more subjects. And while General Samuel Lane arrives at the party to pull out his grandkids and Sarah as well, they head back home with a car ride. And this is when we have Jonathan, Jordan, General Samuel Lane, and Sarah getting into a car crash. And that is because Tulloch himself, aka the Eradicator, just crashes the car. He just stands still and the car crashes on him. Yeah, this part was very crazy. But they're in a car crash, and Samuel Lane tells Jonathan to aim for his pistol because they have a kryptonite bullet, in which Jonathan only has one try to actually try and stop Morgan Edge. And this is when we have Jonathan firing at Morgan Edge, but Morgan Edge just flies out of the way. So yeah, the kryptonite bullet is wasted. They are now futile. They cannot really do anything about it. But we have everyone being badly injured. Jonathan's badly injured. Samuel Lane's badly injured. And this is where we have the Eradicator come in, and he takes Jordan and flies off. And I was like, wow, okay, what is happening over here? In which we then have Jonathan calling for Superman, in which Clark goes to the crime scene only to find out that Jordan's missing. Morgan Edge has taken him, and this is when we have Superman flying out to space, and he's just looking for Jordan. He hunts the entire world to find Jordan, but he can't. He obviously goes down and tells Lois Lane, and Lois is really broken about this, and yeah, they're going to have to try and find Jordan now. But then the Eradicator places Jordan into some like nuclear area or something like that. I don't know where it is, but it's clearly abandoned and they're alone. And this is when we have the Eradicator use his abilities to implant the consciousness of Zeta Rho inside of Jordan. So yeah, I am very excited to see where this goes. Will we actually have like a John Henry Irons, Jonathan Kent facing off against Jordan, or Zeta Rho in Jordan's body? I'm very excited to see that. I think that would be very cool if we do end up getting that. But the thing I am most excited for is to see how this season wraps up. Will anybody end up dying? I don't know about that. We will have to wait and see. But I cannot wait to see Morgan Edge and Clark Kent's final confrontation. I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm just very excited. But overall, I loved this episode. I thought it was great. We had some very intense scenes throughout the episode. We had these different story arcs with different characters, which I really liked as well. And obviously Morgan Edge, as I have kept on saying during this video, Morgan Edge has just become like a very, very threatening villain. So I cannot wait to see how Clark's going to stop him. Yeah, I enjoyed this episode a lot. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought about the episode. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.